Hello students, welcome back to the science class. Hope you all are fine. So today we are going to continue our lessons in unit 6, life cycle. We have finished till lesson 3. So now we will start from lesson number 4, pollination and fertilization in plants. Then 5, seed dispersal. Then lesson number 6, how do seeds grow. In the previous video, we have learned about the parts of a flower. There are 4 main parts for a flower. That is petal, then comes the sepals, then the male reproductive part stamen, then the female reproductive part carpel or pistil. Now we are going to learn how pollination happens, how the pollens are reaching the female part, and how these female cells and male cells are joining together to form seeds, and how these seeds are becoming a plant. Ready to go? So what is pollination?
Now we will start with pollination. What is pollination? That is the pollens present in the anther, that is the male reproductive part, which is reaching the stigma in the female reproductive part. That process is called pollination. The process by which the pollen grains or male cells from the male reproductive part is reaching the stigma of the female reproductive part. That is called pollination.
So how these pollens are reaching the stigma? Is there any agent that is taking these pollens from the anther to the female part? Yes, there are some agents for the pollination. That is wind. Through wind, the pollen grains will pass from one flower to another flower. Then through water, the pollens will pass. Then through some kind of animals, insects, bees, butterflies, birds, even humans, these pollens will pass from one flower to another flower, knowingly or unknowingly. So let's see how this is happening. So we know that the flowers are brightly colored and there is a sugary liquid called nectar inside the flower. So bees, insects, butterflies will come to visit the flower to feed this nectar. Visiting the flower, these bees will be in touch with the pollens, and the pollens will be all over their body. It will be stick to their body like this. And when they will go to the next flower with this, these pollens will be stick to the stigma, that is the sticky structure of the female reproductive. That's how pollination is occurring through the insects. Understood?
Pollens also pass through wind. The pollens will fly through the wind from one flower to another flower and thus reaches to the female part. And also through water, it will flow through the water and reaches to the another flower of the same species to the stigma, so that the pollination will happen. Also, there are some other animals or insects, butterflies, all these butterflies, bees, insects, everything will come to feed the nectar, and thus the pollination will take place. Understood the agents of pollination? So, the definition of pollination is the process by which the pollens from the anther reaches the stigma. Understood? So, what happens to these pollens when it reaches to the sticky part stigma? Now, it's the time for the process called fertilization. Now, we will see what is fertilization. Fertilization is happening inside the ovary. When these pollens reaches the stigma, we know that the stigma is sticky in structure. And when these male cells will reach the stigma, each pollen grain grows a tiny tube towards the egg cell, that is the ovules, and then the male cell will fuse with the female cell. When the pollen grains and egg cells have been joined together by these tubes, the egg cells are said to be fertilized. Each fertilized egg cell then begins to develop into a seed. So, the process of pollens from stamen reaches the stigma and then the ovary and fuses with the ovules is called fertilization. So, here the fertilized ovule will be developed as seed and the wall of the carpel begins to grow into a fruit. That is, the ovary will be converted to a fruit and ovules present which was present inside the fruit which is fertilized is converted as seeds. See the picture, it is clear that the fertilized ovule is converted as seed and the wall of carpel, that is the ovary, is converted as the fruit. Understood? When these ovules are fertilized and developed as a seed, these seeds should be dispersed. So now we will see how the seeds are traveling. Like pollination, there are some agents for seed dispersal too. That is through wind, water, birds, humans, animals and explosion. We will see how this is happening and why it is necessary.
Why it is necessary that the seed should be sown far away from the parent tree? Seed should need certain condition to grow. That is, they need the proper sunlight, water supply, mineral salts and space to grow. If all the seeds from the same plant is growing in one place, these conditions won't be satisfied. The seed should reach other places to sustain the species and to satisfy the conditions. The seeds should get proper space to grow, the water supply, the sunlight, nutrients from the soil. So, all the seeds can't grow in one place. That's why seed dispersal is necessary.
We'll see how the seeds are traveling through wind. Some fruits are specially designed to be carried by the wind. The seeds of some sycamore, ash, maple and pine trees have wings to fly through the wind. And it is very light and have hairs on it. So it is easy for them to fly along with the wind. That's how seeds are traveling or dispersed through the wind. A few seeds are dispersed by water. The best known is the coconut, which has a spongy layer of fibers around it. These trap air so the coconut can float. Sometimes for hundreds of kilometers from one island to another, the seeds of the coconut tree will flow and it will reach to the another island and thus reaching far from the parent tree. Now, brightly colored and juicy fruits such as plums, strawberries, raspberries, and gooseberries are often eaten by animals, especially birds. The hard seeds inside these fruits pass through the animal's body and fall to the ground in its droppings. The seeds and the droppings containing them may finish up a long way from where the fruits were first eaten. Thus, the seeds are dispersed by the birds. Now, some seeds and fruits such as goosegrass, burdock have hooks that catch on the fur or feathers of animals or on people's clothes. If the seeds eventually drop off onto soil, they may grow. Now, some seeds are dispersed through rain. When it rains, the seeds will be carried by the rainwater and will be reached to the places and it will grow. Now, the fruits of peas, beans, lupins are pods. When these dry, they burst open suddenly, shooting the seeds away from the parent plant. Poppy and orchid fruits have small holes in them. When the wind rocks the plant, the seeds are scattered as if from a pepper pot. The seeds will be bursting out like an explosion. Understood how the seeds are dispersed? Seeds are really good travelers. Now we will see the structure of a seed. The seed is mainly having three parts: seed coat, cotyledon and embryo. Seed coat is the outer covering to protect the seed. Cotyledon is the food storage part and embryo is the baby plant. Now we will see how the seeds are growing. That is the seed germination. Seeds come in many different shapes and sizes. Yes? They all need water, air and warmth before they will start to grow. Now what is germination? When a seed has water, air and warmth, it can begin to grow into a new plant. This is called germination. That is, the seed is converted to a new plant. The seed is growing to a new plant. That process is called germination. Soon after a seed is sown, such as a broad seed, it takes in water from the soil. This makes it swell. And as the embryo starts to grow, its tiny root pushes through the seed coat, which is the outer covering, to the outside. Roots always grow downwards, and as the root pushes its way down, tiny hairs grow out of it into the soil. So these root hairs take in water and dissolved mineral salts and what all things necessary for the plant to grow from the soil. And that's how the embryo is grown as a young plant. Understood? And after some days, a young shoot begins to grow up towards the light. Soon when it is above the ground, the shoot starts to grow green leaves. These can begin to make food for the young plant. And there is a little bud at the top of the small plant which will go on growing. And after some days, the true green leaves are formed as the young plant continues to grow. So, this is the whole process of germination. Today, we learned about pollination, how the pollen grains from the male reproductive part reaches the female reproductive part, and how fertilization happens inside the ovary by the fusion of male and female cells to seeds, and the seeds are dispersed, and the structure of seed and how the seed is germinating. So the complete life cycle of a plant is passing through three processes: pollination, fertilization and germination. Through pollination, the pollens from the male reproductive part will be reaching to the female reproductive part. Then after that, these male cells have to join with the female cells for the sexual reproduction, and that process is called fertilization. And through fertilization, the male and female cells will be fused and seeds will be produced. After that, the seeds will be dispersed through certain ways and the seeds will be sown and start to germinate. Here the process of germination starts. Roots will grow downwards and the shoots will start growing. Leaves will come. Like that, young plant will be produced. After that, a mature plant. Then again the plant at a certain stage, flowers will come. Then this same life cycle will continue. So this is the sexual reproduction in plants. This is how the plant reproduce. Hope you have understood all these topics. And this is what we learned today: pollination, fertilization, seed dispersal, and how do seeds grow. So that's all for today. Thank you for listening.